Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Reva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalde Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 18th of June 2026. I want to offer prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan, Paramatma, residing in the heart of each being at all times. We're continuing to examine verse number 47 of chapter number 2 of the Bhagavad Gita as a foundational central verse with regards to day-to-day activity and eventually for the preparation of understanding the Ras Leela when we get to that point. So to continue from yesterday, we're going further to unravel the dynamics of this extraordinary verse. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur burmate sangnosva karmani. This is the verse. So today we want to talk about two concepts, additional concepts, that is craving and non-possessive care. Two things. Let's go into that carefully. So when the Gita teaches us not to be grabbing hold of the results. Results come to us. The fruits, results, outcomes, they come to us. But what generally happens is that by grabbing hold of those results internally, psychologically, that is connected to the psychology of craving, Craving. So what is craving? Craving is compulsive desire that binds the mind, binds our internal world to a desired object or outcome. So let's be clear on this point. If you remember the TEMDE, hopefully you've got that in your mind now. Thoughts, emotions, desires, energy. Thoughts, emotions, memories, desire, and energy. TEMDE. So desire, meaning ichcha, is there in life. So craving is specifically talked about as compulsive desire. Wanting something again and again and again and again and again. And that wanting something, experience again and again, it binds the individual, binds our mind to the objects, to the outcome. It is the binding in the outcome that's a problem, and the more we are bound in the outcome, the more craving there will be. That is why in this verse, ma phaleshu kadachana, do not get stuck inside the fruit, inside the outcome, whatever the outcome is. Because that creates dependency. That creates dependence. It doesn't promote freedom. The mind gets bound. Our ego is holding on. So that's where then the individual starts saying, I must have this result in order to be at peace. I must get this result, this result, this result. Yes, of course we want certain results, obviously. What happens if we don't get them? We're not at peace. We're still disturbed. I didn't get exactly the way I want this thing, that thing, etc. That's where then the unhappiness comes. Then the unhappiness comes. This result has to come. This thing has to happen this way. And when we do this, we are giving results power over our conscious mind, our psychological consciousness. this produces anxiety, fear, anxiety before even taking the right actions. It produces agitation while performing actions, verbal, mental, physical, and instability after taking actions. See the problem. भगवान का जो साक्षात्कार है वो हो ही नहीं सकता until this is mastered. It will not happen because we're stuck inside. How can we see the divinity? Yeah, we do bhakti and everything is okay. That's fine. We have to do that. But we don't want to be stuck inside the psychology of craving, into the prison of craving. You see these points again very carefully. I must have this result to be at peace. That's a problem. If the results are given power over our mental happiness, over our consciousness, this produces, when we give results power, that this thing has to happen this way, then I'm alright, then I'm okay, then this, then that, then this. We have anxiety before taking actions. We have fear. What will happen? What will this happen? That will happen. And our internal Shakti gets torn apart. So anxiety before action happens. Anxiety during action. And remember, action meaning mental, physical, verbal. Man, karma, vachan. Mental activity, verbal activity, physical body activity. That's only three are there. So there's agitation, uneasiness while performing the action because our mind is lost in that goal. And the instability that comes after the result comes. So if success comes, the mind fears losing it. I have to hold on. I cannot let this, we're holding on. Functionally, we have to hold on to results, no doubt. But there's the fear of loss. Leave it alone. It's not going to be lost. Nothing will be lost. Leave it alone. Right? So fear of losing it. Fear, if failure happens, the mind collapses. We get depressed, sad. Oh my God, I cannot do anything. This happened. Terrible outcome, this, that. We find this right on all these competitions. In those singing competitions and all that, the people are being eliminated. Only one person is going to win. You see the depression, the anxiety, they get drained out, This is how this world works. That's why we are hurting each other by harmful competition also. Humanity has hurt itself because of all these reasons. Because each person wants to progress at the cost of somebody else. You can never find Ananda that way. It's never going to happen. It never can happen. और भक्ति भी कभी भी आएगी नहीं जीवन में by trying to bash somebody else. And people are living that way, dying that way, and reincarnated that way. That's it. Prison of Maya. इसमें से निकल नहीं सकता, कोई निकल नहीं सकता. It can never get out of it. You see, so this is because of this collapse. Mind collapses. Things don't go my way. I feel sad, depressed, blaming others. I'm not filled inside with Shakti for Bhakti. I'm draining my power from inside. Draining my mind, Buddhi Nash. So thus attachment to fruits binds both in success and failure. These notes, by the way, are on page 17 of the handout that I sent all of you some days back. You can check it out if you want. You can read that there. Hopefully, are taking notes here. Because we want to make this real. It's not about just ideas and concepts, right? So see how difficult this is. It's difficult because we are craving success and we're afraid of failure. Two things. Craving success and afraid of failure. And this is where we get bound. So attachment to the fruits meaning the results, the consequences of our actions, binds, B-I-N-D-S, binds, binding process, bandhan, binds both in success and failure. So we should be clear. This verse, the verse's remedy, how to get out of this thing, it is not emotional deadness. Just destroy your emotions. It's not like that. No. That's not true. It is something different. It is called non-possessive care. Non-possessive care is responsible concern without ownership-based fixation. Responsible concern. I'm responsible for my family, for my job, for my body, for my thinking, for my, the money that is coming. I have to be responsible with everything, right? If I cannot be responsible with that, I'll cause trouble for myself and for others. But the difference is, it is non-possessive responsibility. Something interesting, some concept we may not have heard before. Probably not. Non-possessive care is responsible concern with family, with friends, with the situation in the world, with our communities, with our families, with our homes, with everything, right? Every action we perform. Responsible concern without ownership-based fixation. The fixation. Mera. Mine. This is ownership-based fixation. It's a beautiful word in English. Fixed, it gets trapped and fixed inside there, that thing. So a person may care deeply about doing well, serving others, protecting life, seeking justice, or attaining spiritual growth. Yes, we should care deeply. That is mumukshutvam. That is a desire for liberation. That is the desire to serve others, to do good things for our family, for everybody, right? Yes, no doubt. Such care is not forbidden in this verse. No, there's no question. What is forbidden is bondage. Bhagavan Krishna says, I don't want you to be bound. Bandhan se nikal jana. This is how we have been talking about Jivan Mukta Sthiti, Brahmi Sthiti. We want to reach Brahmi Sthiti. Mein jana hai, to bandhan meaning bondage has to completely go. In Gujarati we say bandhan bada sampurna tutva જોઈએ. It has to go completely. Otherwise it will not, we'll get stuck somewhere. The difference between care and attachment exists in whether the self becomes dependent upon results for identity, peace, and worth. I'll explain this. Every line has a lot of meaning, so these are my notes. I'm going through that with you. That's necessary so we can actually contemplate. That's the purpose of doing all this research. The research is really great now with all the modern tools we have. Right? But it really helps us to understand the concepts very clearly. So the difference, first of all, there's a difference between care and attachment. You're a father, you have a daughter. You have a mother, you have a husband. You have, I'm a son, I have a mother. Whatever. There is relationship, there is care, affection, responsibility. Like for family, for example. Obviously. But that possessive care, that's the problem. Non-possessive care is a solution. Non-possessive. My mother is there. Mother of this body is there. Atma ka koi mother, father, kuch koi bhi nahi hai. So this is mother and father and children and all. This is related to bodily relationship. And that's necessary. That's beautiful. But it has to be non-possessive. That's what the Gita is teaching. Karmani eva adhikaraha, right? Right? Karmani eva adhikaraha. Karmani means your actions, physical, mental, cause, every kind of verbal action, perform the right duties for family, for friends, for relatives, everybody. But ma phaleshu kadachana. Somebody has to behave this way. They must behave this way. They must do this. Who knows what they'll do? We don't have control over anybody in this world. We do our duty in the right time. We have certain expectations, fine. But we cannot control anybody or anything. The results का जो control है, that is Ishvara. As per Shikshapatri, I mentioned it many times already. We'll look at the verse sometime in this series. So we remain free. I mean, we do our best. But do we have control over our children or our parents or our family? We don't have control over anybody. Who we have control over? There's only one person Sachin needs to have control over, is me. That's it. Nobody, and I shouldn't even try to control anybody else because I cannot control anybody else. That is my ego. Then I get frustrated, upset, and so many problems happen. I can try to influence, try to convince, try to talk to others. Maybe we want them to do certain things. That's fine. But after I do my duty, come right back into the Atman. Come right back into your natural self. Leave it alone. Let that person continue. You have to do your duty and let them go on their path. The fact of the matter is that each person in this world is on their own path. We're together because of karma sambandh. Some children come into our lives. We've come into some parents' lives. And then there are duties to perform in that. But after those are done, and even while they're done, each person is still on their own path. Nobody really belongs to us and nobody's ours. No body, B-O-D-Y, is ours. If this body is also not ours. Then how can somebody else's body be ours? This is the biggest thing to understand here, that the engulfment in the forms of Prakriti is what causes rebirth. To see beyond the forms of Prakriti, Nam Rup Akar, reaches into the Atma Chaitanya, into the Brahman, vast consciousness. That's the difference. That's what the aim is of the Bhagavad Gita. That's why this is a foundational verse, because we're living with the forms of Prakriti. We're living within the dynamics of Prakriti. We're living within the realm of Prakriti. Prakriti meaning nature. And the natural processes that go on. Like, for example, the sexual process. It's from that process that child is born, right? Created. Sperm and the egg come together. वो एक process है. That is a part of the process of Prakriti. What does the Atma have to do with that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The Atma is not born or created or destroyed. It is Nityaha. Ajo Nityaha Shashvato Yam Purano Na Hanyate Hanyamane Sharire. It is eternal. But to realize that Atma, just to say that I can speak the verse, you can speak the verse, other people can speak the verse, I mean, that's fine. इसका अनुभव कैसे हो सकता है? Atma Chaitanya, we are Atma, we are Brahman, sounds very nice. We are devotees of God. It's all fine, everything is okay. But this is what the verse is showing us, how to live in our moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day life, where there is no binding to the result. Ma karma phala hetuhu. Ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetu. You are not the cause of the fruit of the action. Do not hold on that, because you didn't create the fruit of the action. The giver of the fruit of the action is Ishvara. So that's why he says, Ma phaleshu kadachana ma. He uses the word ma twice there in verse 47. Ma karma phala hetuhu. Hetu means cause, motive, agent. You know, I earn so much money, so I deserve a paycheck. This is my paycheck. This is ignorance. This is agnan. Yes, we put the effort in. The paycheck comes to us. That fruit that is coming to us, that is by Ishwar Krupa for the purpose of bhakti and seva. And if we put third thing inside there, other than bhakti and seva, we will get trapped inside Maya. ऐसी बात है. किसको ज्ञान है इसका? It's amazing to understand these things. And if we really internalize, not because Sachin is, this is just an exposition, right? You've got to look at it yourself. बहुत ध्यान से इस पर keep attention on this. Extraordinary. Then we can move into that dimension where the cravings vanish and non-possessive care opens up. These are our two concepts for today on this verse. Craving, being sab khalas ho jata hai. There's no craving left. Because bhakti is going to open up. हमारी जो भक्ति है भगवान के साथ, इसमें लग जाना. When that actually opens, there's nothing like that. There's nothing at all like unobstructed bhakti. There's no experience like that in Prakriti. There's no anubhav like that. That is Ananda, Maha Ananda, Premananda, Divya Ananda. अनुभव करो इसका, पूरा अनुभव करो, कोई हमारा नहीं है. That is vairagya. God is present everywhere. That is ज्ञान. मैं आत्मा हूं, मैं दिव्य हूं, मैं ब्रह्म हूं, I'm out of all this law of karma. That is atmagnan. We want to do seva for everybody. That is karma yoga. See how beautiful this is, right? So non-possessive care. These are our two concepts today. I don't want to take too much time, bombard with too many ideas. Few ideas, the ideas need to be real. It's like Sachin is talking about this for Sachin, not for anybody else. It's a sharing, right? If you understand, you want to share with 5 other people, that helps us to better understand. Anybody listening to this right now, online, later on, take these ideas, try to explain them to 5 other people. Say, listen, I want to try to review some concept, not to try to tell them that I'm telling you something. Not like that. If we tell 5 people, 10 people, 20, the more we talk about it, the more it becomes clear to us. Listening to all this is just the beginning. Even Sachin is listening to it while talking about it. How beautiful, right? Non-possessive care. Responsible concern without ownership-based fixation. So language is beautiful. But that beauty, the language may be beautiful, but is it a reality inside? Because we don't want to be divided inside. We don't want all these fears and all these problems. We can deeply care and serve others and protect others and seek justice and all these things, seek spiritual growth. That is necessary. But bondage, bandhan nahi. The difference between care and attachment, see the difference between the two. It exists whether the self becomes dependent upon the result for identity, peace, and worth. Am I dependent? Is my happiness based on this thing has to be this way, then I'm happy. My identity is based, we talked about identity a little bit before. Identity, peace, and my own self-worth and everything, is it all based upon these results that are going to come? Or is it independent of that? That is the point. So the distinction is psychologically liberating. When action is performed without compulsive attachment to the fruit, the mind becomes more available to the action itself. Mind becomes more available. Our Shakti, Gnan Shakti, Kriya Shakti, particularly Kriya Shakti, it becomes available to performing the right actions in the present. That's very beautiful. Attention deepens. Our focus, our attention, our vision deepens in our sadhana, in our activities. Our skills improve. Fear decreases. An individual becomes less divided because present effort. Let me say that again. The person becomes less divided between the present effort and imagined outcome. Our imagination is always running somewhere ahead, but our effort needs to be here in the present. So the division between the present effort and the imagined outcome decreases and eventually goes away. This non-attachment can strengthen action rather than weaken it. It allows the person to act without concentration. It allows the person to act with concentration rather than anxiety. These are the points for today. Let's stop here for now and we'll pick it up tomorrow. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakaresu Sarvada Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. We'll be starting Shri Suktam at 10 o'clock online. That will go straight until 1 o'clock with Vishnu Sahasranam as a closing. Thank you all so much. Namaskar. If there's any comments or questions, we can open it up.